Hey everybody, welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture. It is Alpha Flight Monday. Alpha Flight number 38, still 75 cents. What do we have on this cover? Holy moly, we got great beasts, we got Sasquatch, we got this little fellow over here named Pestilence. Doesn't look good for Alpha Flight. What is Talisman doing in the corner? And also, let's give the gift of literacy. Which I guess I'm not doing because I'm kind of reading this to you. So but maybe I'm tempting you to become literate. So last issue, Talisman had created a lot of problems by wanting revenge against her father and basically brings Pestilence up from the ground. Now, he was never dead. He was alive, but he has drawn the power and life force of a demigod into himself, making him rather dangerous. And so Talisman has had her tiara ripped from her head. She is going to probably die if somebody cannot save her. But before we get to our pals in Alpha Flight, let's check in on the Submariner. Atlantis is attacked by the savage Submariner. The fool comes alone without army or allies. He shall die alone, for Atuma now rules Atlantis. So, we got some old school combat in the Mighty Marvel manner here. And it says here, no, you haven't bought a copy of the wrong comic bag by mistake. Alpha Flight will be here in just a few pages. Thanks to thanks to, is that where they were supposed to have the credits? Interesting. Hold on a second. Let's go a couple pages in and see if we got the credits on another page. They ain't lying. Oh, okay, yeah, they're there. I don't know what the thanks to exactly was, but so we have Submariner going into combat against the Atlanteans. For Mariner alone will Namor fight. And boom, you gotta love this. This is classic Marvel combat. The people, flying away from the hero, their faces writhed in agony from the hit. They're all kind of dogpiling him. Witness, high lords of the triumvirate, how your former prince attacks and reviles you, all for the sake of this otherworldly horror. We are not blind, Atuma. Would that I were before my eyes could behold the sorrow I have brought down upon my love. So, very dramatic stuff. And so that looks like they're getting, the better ultimately of the Submariner here. The craven flees, discrediting himself in the eyes of all Atlanteans. Never will they compare his power to mine again. He was but one man against the elite guard at Tuma. Mark now the words of Lord Vashti. Alone or with allies, the Submariner will be back. And so he runs away, and he's basically like, screw Atlantis. If they want a Tuma, they can have a Tuma. I don't really care. But I think that he is going to be back, and I kind of think that because obviously I've read these comics before, so, a little spoiler alert there. But we'll get there in a couple weeks. So Stan Lee presents Pestilence, which, Jack Kirby might agree with. Bill Mantlo, writer, David Ross, penciler, Jerry Taliak, inker, Jim Novak, letterer, Bob Sharon, colorist, Carl Potts, editor, Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. Now, let us join Canada's official superhero group, Alpha Flight, where we left them last issue. And where we left them last issue was not a good place. Aurora, covered in maggots. Box is rusting. North Star is sinking into the ground. Flies have blinded Vindicator. Talisman being choked by Pestilence. Shaman has become extremely old. In other words, they're getting their butts kicked. And so Pestilence is saying, I've taken over this power, yada, yada, yada. And poor Shaman, some shaman I am. As I was about to deliver Snowbird's child, its life force was seized by a creature representing the decay of the land, even as Snowbird represents its life. And having immobilized Alpha Flight, Pestilence is now using his powers to destroy my daughter, Talisman. Once again, this was primarily Talisman's fault, not Shaman's, but he says the fault is all mine. And basically we get kind of a rundown of what we've seen the last few issues. And if you are interested in that, well, you can watch some of the other videos that cover all that. We don't need to cover it right here and now. Oh, there's Spider-Ham. Yeah, oh, that was a Star comic. I remember that. Yeah. But he says, Pestilence was not within Talisman's control. He stole the life force of the unformed infant for his own. Taking Talisman's tiara before she could summon other spirits to combat him, I could don the tiara, save her, but only by sacrificing my own humanity to become the Talisman. And then what? Would the spirit summoned be able to destroy Pestilence without destroying the life force it has possessed, the soul of Snowbird and the mortal Doug Thompson's son? What to choose, who to condemn, who to save? Prematurely aged by Pestilence, Shaman extends feeble fingers for the discarded tiara. Even as Vindicator, leader of Alpha Flight, strives to free herself from a stinging swarm that's blinding her. For every 100 flies my electro shields fry, 1,000 more take their place. I really don't want to get beaten by a swarm of flies. Let's just let's be honest about that. That's not the best thing in the world. I've got to go on the offensive, use my battlesuit's power to create a plasma funnel so that I can see through the swarm. The sight that greets her eyes is not a pretty one, so she gets a look at what's going on. Everybody's down, everybody's out. Shaman is crawling towards the tiara. Puck has been plunged into the icy waters and is obviously in a bad way. You monster, I'm not going to let you kill my Alphans. Your Alphans? Why, my dear Heather, I thought they were mine. Mac? You wouldn't kill me again, would you, wife? James MacDonald Hudson is dead. This is a trick. Of course it is. Pestilence is intimate with death. Somehow he knows how my husband died, and that I may have been responsible. He's trying to make me feel so guilty that I'll be too paralyzed by remorse to defend myself. It doesn't work. So she gives him a nice smack and really cuts loose. And Shaman is saying to Elizabeth, yelling her name, "Oh, Daddy, I'm so sorry." Great. Her tiara gone, Elizabeth's human again, and the same sweet-natured kid I used to babysit a lifetime ago. But we're still stuck with the fruits of her former hatred of her father. And despite all the power my late lamented built into this incredible battlesuit, I'm not sure I can defeat Pestilence alone. But Vindicator may not have to. This looks like a job for Superman. No. Actually, if magic's involved, it wouldn't be. Oh, for at that moment beneath the ice, I bless the time that old Hindu, Dr. Srivinda, taught me yoga. Without the ability to slow my breathing and alter my body's temperature, the cold and loss of air would have killed me. As it is, I'll still have to surface soon, but at least I'll get to choose the time and place. What? The dwarf! So Puck pulls him down into the water, and this gives Alpha Flight a chance to win. So Heather grabs him, pulls him out of there. He grabs a hold of North Star, pulls him out. North Star flies by Aurora, gets the maggots off of her, and Aurora goes super bright, and that really still doesn't help poor Box. Oh, but what is helping Box is Heather is using pulsed bursts to vibrate the rust off of him. Now, here's an interesting thing, though. If the rust isn't like going super deep into the Box body, and you'll remember it's a robot body that Roger Box can phase into and control. If it's just kind of surface rust, it really shouldn't have been stopping him. But I guess they needed something. They could have done the Tin Woods. Oh, actually, it even brings up the Tin Woodsman there. Is it over? Have we won? Unlikely. Pestilence will be back. Indeed, I feel his evil presence all around us. We shall have to fight. It's my fault he's free, Father, seeking to punish you for failing my mother and me. I set free a creature who's using the power of Snowbird's baby to destroy Alpha. The tiara of the talisman robbed you of your humanity. It made you do it, Elizabeth. No, the choice was mine. I was a selfish, vindictive little brat, too blind to see your love for me. The tiara merely gave me the power to escalate my brattiness into brutality. But if I put it back on, maybe I can make up for. I tricked you once into donning it. Once when the need was great. I won't allow it again. Not even to save Snowbird's child. I merely stated that the tiara's power would not be used by Elizabeth Northstar. I know, and I'm such a kid of the 70s. I hear Elizabeth, and I always think Red Fox, Sanford and Son. But it will be wielded by another. Who, Shaman? You? Hasn't your hocus pocus gotten us into enough trouble? Having survived the spirit test, Doug Thompson, I am worthy. You're also old, thanks to Pestilence. Talisman's power might kill you. Better me than my daughter. Daddy, no. Soul of my sacred mother, look, a child. It is my babe. Could the kid's spirit have been strong enough to reject Pestilence's presence? Oh no, the little waif's life force is still bound, and his power is still mine to corrupt. But he misses you, Mommy. Won't you set him free? Yes. And so we see Snowbird take on the white Sasquatch form. You have taken my child's sweet soul and tainted it with your foul and fetid spirit. But other forces of death and decay existed on this planet long before you awoke. I, the worms writhing about me during the long years I lay in the earth, did whisper tales of the great beasts. Twice before, Snowbird's turned herself into an albino Sasquatch. The first time was when she killed my Walter. She was the original Sasquatch. Oh, he was the original Sasquatch. Here we're going to getting a little lesson about who Sasquatch was. Yada, yada. So she's attacking Pestilence. And he basically manages to invoke the great beasts. Now, I like Foxx. Uh-oh. Are they really there? Is this another illusion? Well, let's continue on and find out if I can ever get this page to turn. Jiminy. The great beasts almost destroyed Alpha Flight the last time we fought them in Alpha Flight number 24, but that was on their world, Northstar, not ours. Maybe that and the fact that they're under Pestilence's control and not acting on their own will put them at a disadvantage. I hope. So we go into straight up battle between Alpha Flight and the great beasts. So I guess they are there in some degree. Maybe it's still an illusion. Who knows? Prizes and cash. What more could you want, honestly? Look, they got a Garfield phone. They got, oh, dude, they got Voltron? Wait, Voltron calculator robot. Oh. How many kids thought they were getting like a full-size Voltron and like, it's a calculator? Man. We weren't allowed to use those in school, so like I want to do math at home. Okay, so we have this big battle. And Shaman says, screw it, I'm putting on the tiara. I'm going to become the talisman. And Elizabeth is like, oh, Father, no, not when we finally found each other at last. Doesn't this remind you a bit, if you're a comic book, person, of the old romance comics? Would have like a woman on the front, why has he chosen Stacy instead of me? That kind of comic book is in the DNA of Marvel Comics. Before they were doing superheroes again, it was monsters, which is kind of how we get Thing, Hulk, a few others. And they were doing romance. They were doing romance stuff. And I think that romance side is why we got Peter Parker with all of his issues and all that stuff. Interesting DNA of Marvel Comics. And it's why the Marvel Universe was kind of new. It was kind of different, because it was bringing in some influences that weren't necessarily in the superhero stuff that DC Comics was doing back in the day. Stay your evil, Pestilence. It is the binder who commands you. An old fool supplants the young one. I am no spirit, Shaman. You cannot command me. True. But you have overlooked that the great beasts are of the spirit world. Thus them I may command. Eldritch energies binding the beasts, banishing them. What of it? They were merely agents of destruction, where I am death, decay, and devastation incarnate. True again, but you will notice that I have kept in reserve one great beast spirit upon this mortal sphere, bound to my will and not yours. Sasquatch. Snowbird, a goddess, in that bestial form, yes. As you possess the child, I control its mother. I trust your perverse sense of the unnatural will appreciate the irony when I order the one to destroy the other. Doug Thompson says, no! Narya is only a demigoddess. Her power to assume an animal persona indigenous to the Northlands entails certain risks. Foremost is that her own reason will be subsumed by the chosen animal's bestial instincts. With ordinary earth animals, the risk, though real, is negligible. With an animalistic spirit being, such as Sasquatch, the danger exists that the beast's rage will become her own, and that she will forget how to reverse the transformation. Grar. Aye. I love sound effects. I love sound effects. More prizes and cash? Oh my. It was a golden time to be alive. And she slashes away, and inside she sees the baby. Mommy, no, please. For the love of heaven, Shaman, Pestilence has fled, the child another trick vindicator, as when assuming the guise of your late husband. Will you let her kill him? If he can be killed. But what of the baby? What of mankind? Can you make that choice, Michael? I am neither Michael to Youngman nor Shaman. I am now the talisman. And if I do not make the choice, who will? You could kill me, Mother, and you would, but I've not cheated death for the past 139 years. Wait, that was 138 years last time. To allow you to take life from me now. At his command, the earth that held Pestilence for a century and a half yawns wide to receive him again. My goodness. This time hundreds of feet deep and leading to a labyrinth of caverns, the ground closes up after him so that not even Alpha Flight can follow. And so she's still kind of going nuts as Sasquatch, but she goes back to her normal form. Narya, oh Douglas, our baby, we'll find him somehow, I swear. Oh Daddy, I love you. I'm happy for it, Elizabeth. Is he? Can he be? Didn't he say that becoming talisman would cost him his humanity? His ability to feel for us mere mortals? His heart? Is there no way we can follow Pestilence, talisman, and save the child? Tell me where to look, and I'll race there like the wind. He's hidden himself too well, hasn't he? Masking his evil amidst the constant death and decay of the earth. For now, Puck. For now. I will put spirit agents on his trail. However, we may have to wait until he shows himself again, but I will never rest until his evil is rooted out. By destroying Pestilence or saving my child, whatever is required, Snowbird. It is never silent on the Arctic plain, for the northern winds ever whisper of death. And then the last thing we see is the Omni ship heading back to their base, and this fella climbing up out of the water. Here is where I am told I shall find Alpha Flight, teammates of Marina, whose aid I shall ask when the Submariner invades Atlantis. Whoa! So we got a big invasion coming. So Pestilence essentially escapes. He is not stopped. He still holds the power, but he was getting his butt whooped, so he got on all out of there. So next issue, Avengers join Alpha Flight, the invasion of Atlantis. And we're actually going to be looking at a couple different comics. So the next issue of Alpha Flight, hey, look at that. The Avengers of the day. And those were the Avengers that I was first reading when I got into comic books. We also have an issue of the Avengers. So this story is kind of, in both of them, we have a Mignola cover here. And at the time, I think Buscema was doing the Avengers. Yeah, he was. So we'll take a look at both of those. If I'm honest, I have to look and try to figure out which one comes first. I think maybe the Avengers comes first and then Alpha Flight. I'll figure it out before next week. In the meantime, what did you think about Shaman becoming Talisman, about Elizabeth regaining her humanity, about Pestilence escaping into the ground? Let me know in the comments what you think about this comic book. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, please like and maybe consider subscribing, maybe sharing with a friend. We do Alpha Flight every Monday up until the end of this year. And there are a lot of past episodes to watch, and those are linked, I believe, at the end here. You can find that playlist. So until next time, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. And I will see you again, hopefully soon, in Dad's Den of Pop.